Hi, my name is Damian Bunce and I'm the Chief Customer Officer at Exness, and I'm here with Brandon Mulvihill, who is the co-founder and CEO of Crossover Markets Group. Brandon, good to have you here.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So Brandon, as you know, Exness was an early stage investor together with a few other major market makers in your new venture, Crossx, a crypto ECN. Perhaps you can give us some background to this.
Yeah, certainly. Well, it certainly starts with you guys bringing the Exness into the round. Very excited about that. Some other folks that came into the round, high profile names, are names like 2 Sigma, flow traders who are market makers in cryptocurrency. We also got Nomura, Laser Digital, and obviously our first bank, and they have aspirations to launch their market making business into the round. So we're very excited with the cap table and the strategic partners. In terms of Crossover Markets, we are an electronic communication network, an ECN. Mm-hmm. And so specifically what that means is we are not an exchange. We're the complete opposite to an exchange. What we are doing is building customization of price formation on a per user basis. And we're bringing several things to the market that couple with that in terms of speed and things we'll get into in this interview. But all of this translates to what we believe will end up with tighter pricing and deeper pools of liquidity. If we look at, for example, the equities and foreign exchange market, one of the things we aspire to do with Crossx is to bring advanced order logic from equities and foreign exchange into the cryptocurrency market, while at the same time preserving all the things that make the cryptocurrency market great. For example, the 24/7 365 nature of the trading habits.
So Brandon, as you know, core execution and pricing is critical for Exness, and in crypto assets in particular, where spreads can be very wide, particularly as you go down the coin spectrum and dispersed across venues. How do you think that the Crossx ECN is going to help companies like ours with price discovery?
Sure. Well, I think the first thing is speed. And we believe at Crossx speed is absolutely critical. And the analogy we like to use is, imagine, Damian, you go online tonight to buy an airline ticket, and you get a price update every minute. And your next door neighbor wants to buy the same ticket, but he gets a price update every 10 minutes. Who do you think is going to get a better price, and who do you think is going to buy the ticket first? It's pretty obvious it's going to be you, due to one factor, and that factor is speed. What we are doing at Crossx is we are bringing what we believe to be the fastest platform in terms of price discovery in the market today. Mm-hmm. We are seeing the ability to provide price updates in between 10 and 20 microseconds, which is an order or 2 orders of magnitude faster than any other venue in the space. Now, conversely with speed is also the customization of how we deliver that price. So one question to you, Damian, is, just broadly speaking, how big is the technology team at Exness?
Well, we're a large company, Brandon. We have roughly, I think, 600 or so in our technology group.
600 people?
Yeah.
Simply devoted to technology?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, of those, probably maybe 200 or so specifically to trading.
So what I would say for Crossx is, like any complex products, we can provide this expertise in speed and this capacity and a ton of customization for how we deliver liquidity. And that customization can become exponential depending on how the user interacts with it. And so when you joined in as a strategic investor, this is very exciting to us because we knew that you had the technical expertise, and with 600 technologists, to be able to work with us to scale the price discovery capabilities such that ultimately, what do we both want? We want to provide a very tight price and deep liquidity to the end customer.
So today, Exness is the world's largest retail market maker. We recently executed 3 trillion in volumes in the month.
Incredible.
And what's less well known, in fact, is that we're also a top 10 crypto liquidity player today as well. And when I think about your proposition, and in particular, I think about institutional business,
sure,
bringing more institutions into the crypto market, which is very dominated by retail now. How do you see that impacting the industry?
Well, I think it impacts the industry in terms of the depth of liquidity. right? And so one thing that we have seen in our experience is from the client's experience, they're looking at the price of the coins, and oftentimes the price becomes unstable. This happens particularly in the evenings. It can happen in the weekends during illiquid hours. And with that price instability, what you're seeing is a dryness of liquidity. The available liquidity on offer becomes adversely impacted. And so the way we need to think about this is, and I think clients will really appreciate this, is we need to think about leverage. What's happened in the crypto market today is that these exchange models really limit the available leverage for the price maker. Mm-hmm. And this has a poor experience for the client who's looking for not only tight spreads, but they're looking for stable spreads and liquidity overnight and through the weekend. Mm-hmm. So I would say the biggest thing happening in the institutional space right now is the attack and people addressing this issue of leverage. It's done through someone called a prime broker. Crossx is integrated into the largest prime broker in the world in crypto. And so we're helping to solve this problem by increasing leverage for the market makers, which we think will end up providing better pricing, more stable pricing, and deeper liquidity for the end client.
Understood. Thinking about the crypto market today, as you know, it's heavily dominated by Binance in terms of volumes, mm-hmm. something like 20 billion a day, of which roughly half of that is in Bitcoin. But we see a prevalence of new decentralized exchanges. Uniswap is an example of that, where smart contracts are used to market make products effectively. And in recent stats, I noticed that Uniswap is now executing close to 6 billion a day. Wow. So it's still some way off the top, but it's the second. And thinking about that business model, some talk about it being a disruptor for market makers. Potentially for us and also, maybe for your company. How do you view that?
It's a great question. I think this is going to be a hot topic for years and years to come. It'll be on lots of panel discussions. I think, broadly speaking, what the DeFi sector is doing is they're providing competition into the marketplace. So I think the one thing we can all agree on and should agree on is that any time in financial markets where you increase competition, the end result is almost always positive for the end user. Mm-hmm. And so I think rather than look at it from a contentious point of view as a them and an us, a DeFi versus CeFi, I think the one thing we're excited about is having a competitor there that we think is going to drive all products to be better so that the experience for the end user is advanced. Now,
so you see some sort of coexistence between the decentralized and the more centralized crypto marketplaces?
I do. I think for the next couple of years, there seems to be a real war of words between CeFi and DeFi. And my prediction is what's going to happen over time is that you're going to see these two worlds meld together more so. And you can even think of it from the standpoint of when you look at DeFi, you've got all of these decentralized nodes. Think of it like a neural network where all these nodes can effectively, through smart contracts, interact with each other without directly knowing each other. If you think about what we're doing at Crossx, there's nothing that prevents us in the future from effectively being one of the many nodes on the neural network.
We've assembled a great team, and that was definitely one of the appeals of us when we thought about investing in the business model. And in particular, many in the team were associated with FastMatch, which was an FX ECN that gained a lot of attention in the marketplace and was ultimately acquired by Euronext. Mm-hmm. So maybe tell us a little bit about your team and how the Crossx ECN is, I guess, going to inherit the benefits of FastMatch, which made big waves in the FX market.
Yeah, sure. So you hit the nail on the head. The team is a critical piece to what we think gives crossover markets real disruptive advantage in the marketplace. And it starts with the technology. So it really starts with our CTO. Our CTO has 35 years background building trading venues initially in the equities markets. Mm-hmm. You mentioned he then moved into the FX markets. And so he's got experience with building trading venues in the FX space. And just a real quick side note, that's not a trivial thing, right? Equities and FX have similar order logic, but there's also nuance between them that needs the very fine detail that needs to be fine-tuned to build something that's as disruptive as you say, a fast match. And so part of what we're doing is we're trying to take the expertise from equities, from FX, and bring it into crypto, while at the same time maintaining those nuances and details for the crypto market. And so we think our CTO and the development team behind him, they have the right experience. We're very excited to have them on board. And we know from their experience that we've got the right team to build this in the right way to take advantages of the things that we're looking to take advantage of. And again, what are they? We would highlight speed. We would highlight the customization of market data, right? So just to really drill down on that, if we have 100 clients accessing Crossx, they're not trading into one swimming pool, one exchange, right? If we have 100 clients, there's 100 independent market data sessions. And the interaction rules of how people trade through each market data session is unique to that person. So this is a very sophisticated system that we've built. And again, it really speaks to the sophistication of the people who have built it. The other thing I would add is from a market structure standpoint, we mentioned before this challenge of leverage, right? In today's market, the retail client has leverage. On the other side, the market makers, the leverage they need is not quite fully baked out. And for them to get leverage, what needs to happen, and it is happening, is there needs to ultimately be a credit provider in the form of a prime broker that sits on top that provides that access. And I only mention this to state that the two other co-founders, Anthony Mazzarese and myself, spent 5 years building an FX prime brokerage business at Jefferies. So we have extensive knowledge of how to create an environment that can give that leverage that ultimately gives your clients a better experience.
Thank you very much for giving us your insights. You know, Exness is excited to track your progress. I know that the team is gearing up for an April launch. I think you have 14 or so clients in UAT testing right now, so we wish you good luck. We'll be tracking it carefully from the sidelines. And you know, we think this is an exciting new entrant into the crypto market, and wish you great luck you know, bringing it to market.
Really appreciate that. And just want to add one last thing before we go. We set out on a mission to raise money from only strategic customers of the platform. A very, very difficult way to raise money in general. The last year has proven to be the hardest market in this century to raise money. And yet we come out of that round achieving our goal. And the goal is really predicated on having market leaders step in who see the vision, want to execute on the vision, want to be a partner to help building the platform. And so it's with that mindset that we just want to say on behalf of Crossover Markets, thank you, Damian, and thank you to the Exness team for coming into the round and being a partner.
It was a pleasure.